Personal branding is one of the highest leverage activities that a founder or a team can do to build trust with their community, expand their reach for their product, and reinforce their narrative. So, in this video, I'm going to go over the whys and the hows of how to build your personal brand in the Web3 space. And if you're wondering why you should even listen to me, I'm Ramsey. I'm the founder of Jello, a Web3 native content and marketing studio. And we've done work for the likes of Solana, ICP, Polkadot, and Supra, and many others. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, firstly, why is building a personal brand essential for Web3 and tech startup founders? Well, first of all, it should go without saying that people trust people and not products. Startups are really a game of distribution. It's not always who has the best tech, it's who can get their tech and get their product in the hands of the people who need it, right? The consumers, the end users. And with a personal brand, if you have a trusted face or personality behind the brand, behind the tech, it can make it a lot easier for that technology to be adopted. Sales cycles can become shorter, and you don't have to deal with a lot of other complications when it comes to sales and selling products. And in the Web3 space, this is especially true, right? It's a very rapidly evolving and growing space, but trust is often a challenge. There's this inherent permissionlessness and this ethos of decentralization and anonymity that does shroud a lot of the industry, and it can make it very hard for you as a founder building against these types of projects and not showing your face, because then it makes it hard for the audience to distinguish, well, who's real and who's not. So people are more likely to support a project if they can connect with the person behind it. A personal face behind the product really builds that trust. And a personal brand adds a human touch to that area as well. This space is heavily tech driven, and helping you, with a personal brand, you can help yourself differentiate from other products aside from being, on the tech side. I think realistically, most projects in the space that are successful, it's not because the technology is particularly the best per se. Don't get me wrong, a lot of it is very, very good, but it's more a game of marketing and distribution versus build the best tech and people will come. So we need to build a personal brand because we need to show people that we are trustworthy, that we understand them, and that we are worth listening to. So now that we understand why we need to build a personal brand, we should now go into the kind of basics and pillars of how to build that personal brand. So there are 3 core pillars to building a personal brand. Now, the first one is to understand the audience who you're talking to, right? You're not just going to be building a personal brand that speaks to anyone and everyone, right? It's very hard to build a personal narrative, when your content is so spread out and hitting loads of different things. So the 3 kind of pillars we focus on are understanding the audience, demonstrating thought leadership, and showcasing personality. When it comes to understanding the audience, often in the Web3 space, we find that the audience may understand the technology, but they may not understand how much it will impact their lives. And so what you need to be doing as a founder or as a core team member is kind of showcasing to that audience, like, hey, our product solves these XYZ problems, and here's why you should care about it. So in that sense, you are, by extension, essentially another shiller for your project. And it's nothing to be ashamed of here. It's your project. If you're the founder, you should be doing everything you can to sell your faith. Now, the second part is where it gets a bit more interesting, right? We just showed that we're active and we're contributing to relevant conversations and showcasing our own critical thinking and domain expertise in whatever matter we are in. Now, where this gets interesting is that as a wider team goes, you will have people who are in marketing, who are in sales, who are in BD, who are technical, who are, maybe they're the intern. But each person should be contributing to their relevant, operational efficiency, role, I guess. So if you're a BD, you should be active in BD conversations, but also pushing content related to your own thoughts and to the project that you work for. And that way you can get into the right conversations with relevant people, but also be an advocate for the product. And thirdly is personality, right? Don't be a robot. Everyone has their own style of writing. Everyone has their own quirks. show them, right? And then it's not just in the sense of, tone of voice or how you write. It could be in the memes you share, sharing your lifestyle, right? Are you going to the gym? Are you going traveling? Like, show people your journey, tell your story, right? This is the end of the day, is what we're doing is we're building a story, okay? It's a personal story that you can help boost your product's reach with. When people feel like they understand the founder or the team, and they feel like they're one of them, they'll engage more deeply, and your message will kind of hit a lot harder, right? Again, it's all about storytelling. If we can tell them the story of our team and of our journey, that's what people will get hooked to. So now that we've gone through the why and the kind of how, we can kind of go into the main implementation. So how do we really build a personal brand as a Web3 founder? Well, step one is pick the right platform, right? Picking the right platform is really, really important. In the Web3 space, there are a few core platforms per se that you could potentially build an audience and a personal brand on. The first is Twitter, which we say is a must for 99% of all founders. LinkedIn is also great for a more professional look, and podcasts and YouTube are great for another kind of way of information acquisition or information bearing, right? Podcasts are great for audio, YouTube is great for video. Now, you could also go and look at Telegram and build Telegram groups and communities. However, it's a lot harder to push your thought leadership unless you have like a research announcement channel that you kind of post your thoughts on. But it's easier to build the main audience on Twitter and then migrate them to Telegram. Now, we'd suggest sticking to 1 or 2 channels at first max, because consistency matters more about omnipresence at the very beginning. Own one channel and expand out. Now, there is a video I have here, which we'll link in the description, which will show you how to kind of set up your X to do so, to kind of be in the conversations a bit more. But I'll get to that later in the video as well. But I will leave this in the description. Now, once you've picked your platform, you need to kind of showcase your expertise, as we mentioned before, right? Create content on trending topics, what they mean for the future of the ecosystem, what they mean in your opinion. Put your opinions out there and showcase your critical thinking. Share insights on your challenges that you're solving as a founder and the challenges that you face as a founder or as a team building a startup, right? Startups move so fast. We've had it firsthand, right? As a business owner and working with startups, things change all the time, and there's some great stories to come out of some of these changes. These times are precious, right? So we should be kind of updating the market and showing the audience what we're going through. It's okay to be a little bit vulnerable sometimes. But again, this could be technical challenges, this could be product development updates, this could be market insights and challenges that we're solving. It's always good to kind of show people that you are human too. A third one could be to break down complex concepts for your audience, make it accessible to newcomers, and establishing yourself as a real expert. Now, this is obviously product dependent. If you're building some very deep infra, it might not be super necessary, but it's always good to showcase that you can break complex concepts down into simple language. And on that note, for those wondering how you should kind of be talking, I would always recommend to type as you talk, but it's a lot more, I guess, bullish, for lack of a better word, when people can explain complex concepts in very simple language, right? We don't have to use over-convoluted sentences with long words and etc. So simple language, simple explanations, that's how you hook people in. And finally, as I mentioned, storytelling on your personal journey, how you got here, and what your product's role in the landscape is. Now, once you've kind of dictated your pillars and shown your expertise, you need to really focus on selling your faith. As a founder, you need to do more than just be a product pusher. You need to basically sell it as a religion, essentially. Talk about why you believe in the future of blockchain and your role of your product in the whole blockchain ecosystem. You can sell the faith on the technology, or you can sell the faith on your product. Either way, you need to paint a clear vision where your audience can see the role of your product and Web3 playing, a future in tomorrow, because that's what we're all betting on here. And it's also good to share your long-term goals, right? It's, mainnet happened last week, fantastic. So what is the end goal for all of this, right? We need to paint the bigger picture. Now here I have some content from Nick White, who I think has done a very good job of this over the last year. Celestia is an almost household name now, I'd say. A lot of people do know about it. And it was one of the most hyped drops of the last year. As you can see from his Twitter, data availability, which is essentially what they're doing, is everywhere, and it's all he talks about it a lot, and he talks about his product a lot. So taking inspiration from this could be a good way to figure out how you can kind of frame your product. And as you can see, he does frame his product in different ways, right? Foundation of a new internet, framing data availability as the RAM on the world computer. It's all different ways of framing the product and getting people to think about it in different ways. Fantastic. So once you've kind of figured out how you're going to sell your faith, you've contributed to your content pillars, and you're kind of showcasing your expertise, you now need to go and engage with people. Because creating content isn't really the story that we're trying to tell here. If we create content, that's great. If people see it, that's great. But what we need to do is be kind of pushing ourselves out there and getting ourselves involved in the conversations. So we should be interacting with influential voices. We should be collaborating with other founders and leaders. Responding to messages and comments, really contributing to the conversation. If you see two people in Twitter having a debate, feel free to join in, chime in your 2 cents. Sorry. That's more than fine. We need to be in these conversations, right? Being a part of the community rather than just an observer is really important because it reinforces our authenticity and credibility. Remember, we're trying to build not only a brand narrative for the company, but a personal narrative. People need to believe that we know what we're talking about, and therefore our product is thought out and it has some, team narrative behind it and personal narrative behind it. Now, all the information on how you can engage with others very easily on X, with 30 minutes a day, logging on and kind of quickly engaging with the people you need to engage with, is something that I've outlined in a video, which I mentioned earlier. That video will be in the description below on how you can set up your X Pro dashboard and essentially streamline your engagement on X. So finally, what you need to be doing is being bold and authentic, right? Don't be afraid to have opinions, right? It's a very fast-moving place. Things change all the time. The concepts and ideologies that were held 2 years ago have changed, right? And it's important that we show the market that we have our own opinions and we know how to think independently rather than being a sheep of the same herd. At the same time, you don't want to disagree for the sake of disagreeing. So I recommend really being authentic here rather than just going against the grain. Share your unique perspectives, right? This can be one of the limitations of blockchains. It could be controversial takes on other people's ideals. It could be disagreeing with other thought leaders. There's nothing wrong with that if you do it in a respectful way. Avoid trying to appeal to everyone. Now, we've said this before. Niche down, focus on your core values and your beliefs, and your ideal audience will resonate with you, and they'll be the ones that are following you at the end of the day. And finally, you need to be authentic. Be transparent about successes and failures. Don't hide anything. Really just be open and transparent. Treat Twitter as a playground, right? You're just there to engage with people, build relationships, showcase your expertise, and you should really have no expectations where people like you or not. It's all about telling your personal story. So, founder personal branding, the basics, everything from the why to the how. I hope this video was helpful. If there's any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, as this was just a quick one. And we'll drop some material in the description to help you kind of put together the logistics side of engaging on Twitter. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Take care.